I had a dream. I want to talk about it, but the theme of this is about being sincere and truthful. The dream was about Mr. Cho, who used to be the CEO and the chairman at Toyota Motor Company, big company, very famous company. I met him, 25 years ago or so, in Kentucky, when he was still a president of Toyota Motor Manufacturing. And before that, I asked him, I had my book, and he gave me an endorsement. I had the video, he gave me an endorsement. And I had another book, The Results from the Heart, and he gave me an endorsement. So he's familiar to what I have done. And when we were meeting in Kentucky, I had Mr. Moriya with me. He also was with Toyota and worked with Taichi Ono, very famous man who is known to be the father of Toyota production system. And I met Taichi Ono twice, visiting him. But that's a separate story. But background is with Toyota, and the reason of this video, I believe, is that I thought he was like 80-some years old, and he and I, or imaginary person of Cho-san, Mr. Cho, and I had the occasion of doing something in the company because he was retired, and we were visiting this company. And whatever the reason, the setting is such that for us to work with the people in the company to make it better, and going beyond the title, that he is very famous and also, but all, the setting is that we wanted to have people to be engaged in some kind of a discussion of how to make the company better. And anyone who is interested can join to this meeting. And I had an occasion of talking with someone about certain things in the company. And the setting is such that we are all equal to exchange ideas. And I don't think I can go into the detail of it, but it was interesting because when you go beyond the title and the name, famous or not, but be open in a small company, I believe this is a small company, then they don't care about who you are. They just want to do whatever they want to do. So the setting was, that's right, that's something like my YouTube video, that I don't want to have a top-down, but I want to have anyone who will have some concern to come and share. And the thinking behind it is Taichi Ono saying that we want to be a person who doesn't depend on the authority or power, but just being a sincere and truthful in our approach. That's all. There's nothing more than that. And that spirit is called the kuroko, meaning a black sun, so to speak. Not racial. The black is not visible. And the idea of the kuroko is from the play, I think old Japanese play. There's a doll and they play, and behind it is a person who pulls the string and make the play to happen, so that who is behind the play and the person on the doll that is playing the game is the one to make things happen. So he's not seen, audience doesn't know who this crook or the person doing this job or pulling the string. But the idea is not have the authoritative process going on to get things done by the responsibility or the title of whoever that person is. So that idea is what I also did in helping the companies. Of course, some CEO or the very important person asked me to come and help this transformation of the company, but I behaved such that I just am positioning myself like I'm a nobody, but just trying to get what's going on. And that's, I believe, the right approach, so that if you depend on the authority, they respond accordingly. But my position was always just one of them kind of a thing. So I had to develop a skill that I know nothing, and I usually don't know anything about the company anyway, so that my question is always starting very stupid, but trying to get the sense of how people respond, and so that I understand the organization from this person, that person, and all the way to the top, and different functions of R&D or sales, marketing, and production, operation, and stuff like that. So by being nobody to talk with anyone for 30 minutes, 1 hour, this different position, I gather what goes on and what could be the barrier, the bottleneck of things to happen. So that's the stance I worked. And at the end, I usually have the meeting at the top management and managers group about my observation and recommendation. And I'm just visiting this company, say, once every 2 weeks or 1 month or 3 months, depending on the situation. So I'm totally a stranger. But the stranger's theory, I even said it in my book, is good that we have open mind. So sorry for the long discussion of this, but the Kuroko, black man behind, and orchestration, and Mr. Cho to work with the company with me under no recognizable position, but just trying to help. And the Mr. Ono's idea was Kuroko, and my approach had something in common, which is basically to be sincere and truthful. In other words, very genuine in our approach, so that it's not the power, authority, or anything like that, but just being a same human being to exchange ideas. And there was some instance of the conversation in the dream with Mr. Cho and me and the other person, and I don't recall that, but that was a very interesting conversation that is pointing something important. But if you have that process going on, that helps for empowering people to listen to or join to, but also for managers or me, or like a Mr. Cho or whoever, to be very simply genuine state of being, to think and work out a solution, what would be the best for the solution, best for the organization, as much as for themselves too. So that's what I did, and that's in the dream, and that also is what I believe is to be the process that I do with this YouTube thing, that I'm nobody, just talking, anything pops up, and I interact with people, just like my dream in this visit to the company, so that there's something that is open to discuss without any barriers. And that stance is the basis of this exchange of ideas and coming up with the ideas and empowering us, from my point of view, as well as whoever is joining in this process, to be in that, sincere, hopefully. Well, they may just kid and just play and ignore, and they come and go. It doesn't matter, because that's a reality show kind of thing. But not under any circumstance, except in the YouTube case. Well, that is also the way. It may be taken as there's someone who is something, but I'm not recognizable, and I'm just doing this YouTube thing many years, and that's only the reason. There's no reason for anyone to be obliged to watch or do anything except the basis of the conversation and sharing on the YouTube. In this case, I did pretty much the same in the companies that I visited many places, but that one they are paying for me because I was known and my book was sold and many people recommended. So because I didn't do the marketing, I just did the work when people called me. So that's the basis that whoever is interested, I'll work. And the condition of my work was always anybody can quit anytime. That make me feel free and do whatever, and I can say things straight, even if they don't want to hear. But if I think it's important, I say it. And if they want to quit, or if I want to quit, I'll quit. At one big company, 300,000 employee company, I worked for 6 years and get certain difficulty, and I said something, and I decided, okay, this is it. And that ended our work relationship, because I didn't want to continue just for the sake of flying around different countries and visiting and doing this and that. But if that doesn't end in my satisfaction or the organization's satisfaction, I wouldn't do that. So I have this attitude, not depend on the title, authority, or any recognizable position, but be one of the person, and that makes me feel much easier to say anything I want. So at this age, almost 77, I realized that's the basis of my YouTube. At the beginning, I just did whatever I want, and I still do whatever I want. And if people come, they come. If the people leave, they leave. So I maintain, if we call that, it's a state of being sincere and truthful, that as the basis of what I do and how I live and what I do with this YouTube. And that was showing in that video, and that was basically showing what Ono said about the black man, hidden person, and how I and Mr. Cho worked together in the unrecognizable company in my dream, and talking about things, and that was just fantastic. So what's the point of this? Do whatever we really like and be sincere and truthful in what we really like. I mean, that is the definition of doing whatever you really like. And it has to be sincere and truthful. And live accordingly, no matter what the outcome is, but believe in the idea of doing whatever we like and being sincere and truthful, and then face the reality every step of the way. And that is the stance. I think the dream kind of reinforced what I believe that I'm doing now as much as what I did before, and the books, and even not marketing my book, but let people to come. There's a Zen saying, how can I translate into English? If there are people who are coming, let them come. If they are leaving, let them go. That's the spirit. And that's the theme tied to what I dreamed about. And I can think back why I thought about, but it's not necessary. But what's interesting that I had this dream and meeting with Mr. Cho, and visiting company, as if we are nobody but trying to share ideas, and everybody can come and go. And I found that dream I liked the setting. I was not doing it alone. Mr. Cho was there. He must be 80-some years old, still alive. I checked on the Wikipedia. I saw him still doing this kendo swing 300 times a day, every day. I think he's got that spirit from Taichi Ono, because Ono mentioned about Mr. Cho when I visited him. At the time, Mr. Cho was not the CEO. So that spirit may be alive in Toyota still. And there are people who subscribe or live according to what they believe, like what we may want to do by being sincere as the foundation. So I guess the dream was to reinforce that. I can retrieve the reason why I had the dream. I may just say a few things. I was working with AI about this document, the mail, to correspond to someone whom I had encountered but had some problems, and I wanted to not to touch on it, but there's a moment that I have to do something related to the stock that I own that need to be processed. And the AI did lots of great help. That was yesterday. And I was so surprised. It's a legal process to be taken. And I didn't want to do it, but I had to. And it was a long conversation on ChatGPT, several months, but finally came to some decision to take certain action. And it was not easy, but after spending time not jumping into conclusion, it was very productive. If I were to pay anyone, any lawyer, it would have cost lots of money, but at the $20 a month, which is nothing, with using the ChatGPT, I exchanged, lots of documents back and forth and discussed and came to some conclusion. So that was yesterday. And I took being sincere and truthful for the whole process as much as I can tell. But I didn't want to take this legal position. But after considering all the factors, I'm about to take some action, and that's the reason that I had to work with AI finally to process something. the world is going through difficulties, and the way to make a decision living in that turbulent world, and when certain action would impact to the society, you may take a certain position instead of just hiding or not doing. And I even talked with this AI at one point. Forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing, or some words from Jesus, I thought, corresponding to this AI, that maybe I should let go. And I got the response from AI, and along with it, I'm getting to this point after several months, or actually 2-3 years, that process had happened. Be sincere and truthful, and when it's needed, take strong action, or not very strong, because this is not to make it crazy, but just certain process, which I can see that US is working on right now as the country with the people. That's another story. I'm not going to go into it, but I have some idea. And that's kind of similar to say, we are part of the society when it's needed, that something has to be done. Let's do it, if we are being sincere and truthful. So that's the spirit. And that all these ideas floating in this turbulent world, and I'm engaged in some way or the other, also with YouTube, and I'm sharing this for my own sake. That's it. Be sincere and truthful as the basis of how we live, and find the solution, and not to be tangled up and crazy. And I know how to do it, because I figured out, as much as I did in my work relationship, not get too involved, but position something and share it, as much as I do the same in YouTube. So that's a dream from last night. That's a 23 minutes of reflection. If there was anyone listening, thank you. That's who I am, trying to be sincere and truthful all the way. You have a good day.